Hey guys, it's Brian with Mountain Iron and Timber. Welcome back to the channel. So a couple videos ago you'll notice that I had Brock here from Rock Hill Farms and we actually were building this. And what happened was I got a little bit ahead of myself. Some lessons just have to be learned the hard way, I guess. So we had buried this culvert on both sides, not intentionally, it's just kind of what happened with what was peeling off the road. And I knew it had happened, I just hadn't dug out the other side. Honestly, I kind of forgot. Yesterday, this happened. Logan's going out to save one of her chickens. She's got one of the helmets on. This is pretty intense. Springtime, 7,500 feet. Although it might look like this is water, it's actually little chunks of hail. You can see here, so when that happened, this culvert had no water coming through it because this end was completely covered and the other side was covered as well. Let's go check out the other side and I'll show you what was pushing water. All right, so after that storm yesterday, actually during that storm, I came out here because I remembered that the end of this was completely covered. I didn't have time to grab a camera. I didn't have time to film this. This right here, this channel, was actually side to side level full. So that's, guessing that's about 10, 12 inches wide, 4 inches tall, just coming down here as fast as it could go. This pool, I'm guessing this would probably hold somewhere between 1,000, 1,200 gallons of water. Let me kind of take you guys and show you the other side. I come down here in one of the brief breaks in between the absolutely just torrential downpour. This whole pool is completely level and the water line, I don't know if you can see this or not, but literally the water was to about right here. I mean, it was ready to crest over this and it already started flowing out over there where the camera is. When I get here, this line was straight across. This whole thing was completely covered and that culvert had no water going through it. So of course I'm grabbing a shovel and pitching this out of here as fast as I can. And that's when I hit the culvert. Pull the shovel out and all of a sudden there's this sound. Sounded almost like when you pull the drain stop out of your bathtub when it's full of water, but it was really, really loud. And the water just, I mean, pours into that. So then let's check out the other side. So if you can imagine what this looked like, that came out of the end and just boom, like a huge explosion, threw rock literally 60 feet down that ravine. And it just took all of this in a matter of seconds. Kind of goes to show you the power of the water. And this is what happens when you've got 1,200 gallons of water that's bottlenecked and you essentially pull the plug on it and that plug is 18 inches round. That's what happens. Let's look at some of the good stuff that came of this. There's good in everything. So if you recall from the video that Brock did, when he's looking at this, he's kind of like, I don't know that this rock will stay here during a rainstorm. Yesterday was one of those semi-annual rainstorms. It just honestly kind of caught me off guard and I wasn't far enough along. Had I exposed the upside of this culvert, that water would have just trickled out of the end of this culvert like a hose. None of this would have happened, if that makes sense. It was just, there was way too much built up pressure here and it just blew out. Let me show you another clip of that downpour. This is the hailstorm. This is bigger than marble, handful of golf balls. That roaring sound is the tin roof on the garage. We've got a metal roof on the house, but you can hear it over here too, in the backyard. This is pretty intense. In the positive here though, look where I'm standing. All of this ground here, all of this, the whole thing is completely solid. So there's just this one channel here that started to wash. If we look uphill though, kind of to be expected, the storm just really caught us off guard because the entire force of this whole hillside is running down here and it had to make a turn somewhere. What happened was, I'm sure there was just a tiny little line basically drawn in the rock here, and that's kind of what eroded this down. This happened before I had a chance to crown the road to do the drainage properly, so it's one of those things. It was kind of Murphy's Law. It happened, and unfortunately now we got to fix it. So originally what I had planned for was maybe I would have to extend this by 8 or 10 feet out there to where that tree is. I didn't know. And what was going to happen in the interim was, if this was just kind of trickling out the end of it, it wouldn't have made this big of a mess. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Unfortunately, the uphill side, kind of just the fact that I didn't uncover that in time, kind of shows you what happens. So I've got a couple of ways that I could potentially fix this. First way is I've got a big clamshell coupling that I could put on the end of this culvert and reach that out another 6, 8, 10 feet to where it's sticking out of the end of this. And then what'll happen is it'll just cut off the rock that's below it. That would be fine. Or the alternative, which I think I'm going to do, is I'm actually going to dig this back out. It sounds like a huge ordeal. It won't be that bad. Probably take 6 hours start to finish. And what I'll do is I'll dig this out and just save this culvert for another ravine and put in a 30-foot culvert here. That 30-foot culvert is going to stick out to where that tree is. It'll literally be 10 feet wider. I'm kind of paying the price for this. I should have paid more attention when I put this in and put the longer one in to start with. You live, you learn. Some of your lessons just have to be learned the hard way. It won't be too bad. What I'm going to do in a up and coming video is I'm going to take the dozer and I'll push all of this over on the far side. That has to happen no matter what. So I'm not doing anything twice. I have to put more rock over on the other side. And then what I'll do is, as I'm bringing the rock down, like I did in the other videos, I'll just start filling this part as opposed to carrying it to the other side. So it's not going to be, yes, it is doing it twice, but it's not as bad as it might seem. So I'll dig this out and I'll grab onto the culvert with the grapple on the skid steer. I'll kind of make a little ramp going down to this, just pick it up, set it on the other side, then put the 30-foot culvert in here. And at that point, just from the rock that I'm bringing down the hill either way, I'll just cover this up. Everything should work just fine. What'll end up happening is I'll have it stick out about 7 feet this way and 3 feet up the hill. Let's check out this uphill side and let me explain to you why I have a huge pit up here. So if we look at this pit here, I dug this on purpose. I actually dug this probably a year ago with the backhoe on the tractor. And the purpose of this pit is basically a sediment catch. If you notice, the road is right up there. So all of this, if you look down here in the bottom, that's all sediment that washed in here yesterday. That road sediment is packed full of mag chloride. We use that up here on the roads for both dust control and ice melting. But this sediment is just absolutely, I mean, packed full of mag chloride. So what I've done here is I'm kind of capturing the chemical side of it, or the hard side of it, and then when it fills up, it flows out through the culvert and off the other side. So you're getting more of just the water going into the forest, or just the water going down the valley, whereas this is just capturing the mag chloride. The nice thing about this hole is, once I finally get my 574 back, TYM, once I finally get that back, I can take the backhoe and just dig this out again. This filled in probably 2.5 or 3 feet just yesterday. That's how much of the sediment comes off the road and would have ultimately ended up in the forest. The mag chloride kills the trees, it gets into the stream and damages the fish and everything else. So what happens is, this is a great solution to that, to be able to capture that before it gets into the forest. All right, so as far as timeline on getting this fixed, getting this all redone, and the videos coming up on it, it'll probably be 2, maybe even 3 weeks. I need to go out of town this coming week. We had a death in the family, and that has to be handled. We'll be in North Dakota for almost a week. So once that happens, once that's all, addressed, we'll get this to where I'll dig this out better. And then what I'll also do is dig out the whole culvert, pick it up, then make my little ramp going in there and set my new culvert that's 10 feet longer in there, and that should fix any future problems. So this is kind of a example of you live, you learn. You know, it's one of those life lessons that are just kind of learned the hard way. So what we'll do is I'm going to continue the road. After we get back, I'll continue the trail going down through the forest and continue digging up top behind the garage. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.